San Diego versus Kansas City. I'm going to go with the man with a million children and pick San Diego, right? I forget everybody's name the second the season ends. What's the guy's fucking name? He's got like 9 kids. What's his fucking name? What is his name? Not Andrew Luck, not Eli Manning, not Tyrod Taylor, not Derek Carr, not Matthew Stafford. Phillip Rivers. I'm going to go with the man, the man with the golden gun. This is the man with the million kids. He's like real life the fucking Waltons. And if you're going to have 9 kids, you might as well be a fucking multimillionaire. Can you imagine what Christmas must be like at their house? Like how many fucking trees they have. It's got to be insane. He probably buys all these sick-ass fucking gifts. You know what I mean? If I had 9 fucking kids and I had his money, I'd buy them all like electric cars, and I'd make them, those little toy cars that you can sit in, little kid can sit in. I'd make them race themselves around the fucking thing. I'd have one of those circular driveways, right? I'd have time trials on Saturday. I'd put them all in the super softs on Sunday, and I'd let them just fucking whip around. And whoever won got dessert and got to hang with me, and then the rest of them would be banished to the loser wing of my mansion. And sure, they would resent me. A lot of them would cry, especially the little ones, But there'd be no excuses come Sunday. Even if you were a baby, if you couldn't figure out how to just roll down onto the gas pedal and at least make a fucking effort, slam into somebody, then that would be it. You would be banished. If my wife didn't like it, she would be banished too, right? This is why God never let me be a fucking NFL quarterback. That's exactly what I would do. If I had 9 fucking kids, Jesus Christ, every one of them would have like chores, and I would never have shit to do. If you have 9 kids, you can actually run a farm. So if you just live in a fucking house, you know what I mean? I'd give each one of them a room. You clean up the study. That's your job, right? If you don't clean up the study, I'm taking away your car. You're gonna get punished. A couple of grid positions come Sunday. You're never gonna have fucking dessert again. You'd have to be strict with 9 kids, I would think, right? Jesus Christ, how many belts would you have to go through during the course of your, or if you're that dude from the Vikings, like how many fucking weeds or switches would you be pulling out of the ground? What kind of a fucking lunatic hits his own son in the nuts with a switch? You know what I mean? I get it. That's the way you were brought up. But, you usually try to correct shit with your parents. At some point you'd be like, I'm going to stop short of hitting my own son in his little fucking prepubescent ball sack with a fucking switch. You would like to think that someone would make that leap. But, not everybody is as enlightened as me. I like giving people advice that have children and I don't have any. You know what I mean? If you had 9 kids, you could even if nobody had any musical ability, if you sent all 9 of them to American Idol, you got to think one of them would at least make it to Vegas, right? Someone would just have to be able to carry a fucking tune. Jesus Christ, that's a giant goddamn table. 5 kids on one side, 4 on the other. Your wife on one side, you on the other. I mean, how many fucking turkeys is that? It's a lot of goddamn kids. That's fucking nuts. That's like turn of the last century level kids. You know what I mean? They would just have 9 because you knew someone was going to die of polio, somebody was going to get tuberculosis, right? Someone was going to fall down a fucking well. And right there, you're down to 6. It starts getting nervous. I mean, those crops, the harvest is coming in. We're down to 6 fucking kids. Your wife's just laying on her back making fucking bread with one hand, churning butter with the other, and you just, at the end of the day, you come in and you just fucking walk right between her legs like you do when you're behind the herd of oxen. You just fucking put another one in her. Dude, you know what you'd be like? You're like a college coach, college basketball coach. It's like coaching Kentucky at that point, the way the kids would leave you. Kentucky, they're like one and done, all the good players. So, like, You constantly got to be fucking out there priming the pump, throwing the dollar bills around, handing out gold Trans Ams, right? But back in the day, rather than leaving and going to the pros, they were just dying. You know what I mean? The more they died, the more farmland they took up. I mean, granted, they were enriching the soil. If their bodies well, their bodies would decompose back then, right? But they still put them in the boxes. But you couldn't plant over there. You know what I mean? Oh my God, I'm eating this cauliflower. For some reason, I'm thinking about Eddie. Oh, that's interesting you say that, honey, because that's right where I fucking buried him. Yeah, when the Native Americans decided to do a drive-by. And he took a fucking hatchet to the head. I told him to duck. He didn't. He was weak. He doesn't deserve to live. All right? And there you go. Now you're down to 5 kids. Now you're down to 5 kids. I'm going to Google this right now. Ways to die in 1900. Let's see what comes up. All right, ways to die in 1900. Wasn't this a sitcom? It was a short-lived sitcom, right? It was on right after 8 Ways to Fuck Your Mother, whatever the fuck it's whatever the fuck it's called. All right, ways to die. How we died 200 years ago. Leading causes of death in the U.S. in 1900. All right, this is how your kids died. If you had, this is why you had to have 9 kids back in the day. All right. Influenza, pneumonia. See ya. There goes a good 2-3 kids. Tuberculosis, I called that. This is like the Morbid Family Feud. Gastrointestinal infections. Heart disease. And then cerebrovascular disease, whatever the fuck that is. What about farming equipment? By 1950, it was heart disease. Oh no, this isn't kids though. I gotta say kids. Ways to die as a kid. Jesus, what sort of watch list does this put me on? All right, let me type this out. Ways to die as a child in 1900. Well, childbirth was one of them, and you lost your wife. That was like your scout, right? Fuck. Who's going to keep bringing in the new talent? Ways to die, trends, death. There's historical horror of childbirth, all right? Leading causes of death. You know what? They're not going to have it. Death in childbirth. Whatever. I'm still going with farming equipment, you know? Dad's out on the team of oxen. Go tell Pa it's time for dinner, right? And you go out there and the oxen get spooked or some shit and they run over you. Bill, we don't want to know about fucking dead farm kids. All right, well, you know, what the fuck you want from me?